Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Grow Your Occupancy podcast. I'm Julie Podewitz, CEO and founder, and today we are welcoming, no pun intended, John Lariccia, CEO and co-founder of WelcomeHome CRM. Welcome, John.
Thanks, Julie.
Did you like how I got the welcome in there?
That was very clever.
Marketing. I'm jumping right in, John, because I want to pick your brain. You've got a lot of information in there. So can you, first of all, I'm curious, I don't think I've ever asked you what it was that sort of prompted you to get into the senior living business and create a new CRM.
Yeah, so I spent 20 years as a management consultant, and I'd worked in a variety of different industries, mostly helping on sales and marketing improvements. And almost, I guess now 15 years ago, I had the chance to work with my very first senior living operator. And I think like so many people that get into senior living, you're inspired by the people and the mission, and you really just like them. And no offense, I haven't liked all of my clients or all of the industries I've worked in. But I didn't feel like anyone was actually helping them. I didn't think that the technology was there that was being helpful. I didn't think the data and the insights that was being provided were very helpful. I didn't think that the partners that folks had from the technology were really invested to help the operators. And so in the back of my mind, it's like, well, let's try to be helpful and let's spend more time with these folks. And I did it as a consultant, right, over more than a decade. But as you probably appreciate, there's only so much that PowerPoint can do. And there's such high churn in the industry that folks that you would give insights to and talk about programs would unfortunately leave the industry or leave that operator. And so there's no persistence. And so 5 years ago, my co-founder and I sat down and said, there's got to be a better way. And let's help operators primarily through a CRM. And so that's what we did. And
Has it been 5 years? Does it seem like forever and a minute all rolled into one?
It absolutely, that's exactly the case. And in fact, one of our first members of our customer advisory board, when we launched the company to think through what did the market really need overall and with the CRM, he is visiting today. And it's we both look a little older.
Are you aging in presidential years? In presidential time, is that what they call that?
That's what the salt and pepper is. Yeah, I guess.
No,
so.
I've known you for I think about 5 years, and you look better than ever. Better than ever. All right, I want to
marketing.
I want to talk about data and as far as I mean, you have a lot of visibility, right? Sure. into a lot of data. You have hundreds of clients and hundreds of users, and I'm curious what high-level statistics that you could share with me, just kind of like what jumps out at you as far as improving maybe since the shadow of COVID.
Yeah, no, that's great, and it's funny since again you and others were there at the very beginning. I thought that one of the ways that we could be helpful was better data. And when I'd go off and talk, everyone said, yes, we need better data, but we're not giving it to you. And so now that we have a CRM, we have this bird's eye view. And so we can aggregate and anonymize and then pull in third-party data just to make sure that's just not the thousands of users that we have, but it's a cross-section of the industry. The headline is it's a really encouraging time for senior living operators. I know that folks are out there in the field and it feels at times bleak, but there's a lot of positive signs. If I just look over the past year, every single month except for one saw month-over-month gains in occupancy. And that 1 month was in the winter as the press around Omicron was really high, but impressive improvements in occupancy. It's still skittish. And some months the improvement is less than others, but overall the trajectory is really encouraging. What I found particularly inspiring as a human being is that independent living is gaining occupancy at almost twice the rate as AL and memory care. And wow. I like it in part because I was wrong. When we were coming out of COVID, I have a blog post that I wrote, and I'm like, IL is going to struggle. That was my prediction for 2021, that IL was going to struggle because folks like my mom would suddenly learn what DoorDash was and Instacart and streaming, and be able to replicate a lot of the what's offered in an independent living without moving out of their home. And what I think the data is showing, and when I talk to operators is showing, is it's not about features, right? It's not about a service and a bundle of things that they can replicate at home. People want to be with other people. And that's why I think that folks are moving into independent living at the rate that they are, that they had felt isolated. And yes, they might have been able to have meals or have services done with a push of the button, but that's not what they want. They want socialization. And again, I find that pretty exciting as just kind of a member on this planet.
Oh, I do too. I do too. And it's interesting, John, because I've seen that as well at Vitality and other clients. And the active adult, that
Yep.
active adult market that many operators and investors are looking into, that market's exploding and going to continue to do that.
Yeah.
The
other thing on data that I think is worthwhile, I mean, that's the occupancy level at the high level, but occupancy is a function of move outs and move ins, and operations and clinical, they're doing a great job of keeping people happy, and the number of move-ins move outs are going down. And then sales is doing a great job in driving move-ins, right? So it's both an improvement on move outs, but really dramatic gains in move-ins, especially for welcome home clients. New leads overall are up 5% for the year, but the big impact, especially with operators on welcome home, is what folks are able to do with those inquiries. And we're seeing the move-in ratio improve by 30%. So it really,
wow.
Again, it's a great time, believe it or not, for senior living operators. Miles to go, but again, very positive kind of indicators.
When you say the move-in ratio is up 30%, which is that tour to move in or inquiry?
No, it's inquiry to move in.
Inquiry to move in. Very good.
Yeah.
Looking at that, there's a lot of positives, and it's interesting because it kind of flies in the face of, well, memory care is improving because the need is so high, there's certainly truth to that. But IL and active adult doing so well, right? It's that want, and it's fantastic, because you're right. People want to be around others, and it's that emotional decision.
Yep.
Emotional decision.
Yep.
What is one area where you feel senior living sales could improve most?
I mean, I can't presume to know. I'm gonna talk about doubling down on a strength rather than in pointing out a particular weakness.
Okay.
I think what they have to do is connect with people, right? As you said, this is an emotional sale. This is a human sale, whether it's independent living, active adult, memory care.
Mm-hmm.
And for referrers, it's human. I am putting myself out there to say that, yes, I think that your mom, or I think that you might want to think about an alternative way to live. And so I think that it's really making sure that you are approaching this on a human basis, because it's easy to sit there and go, I have suddenly all these digital leads, a place for mom leads, I need to quickly respond. And you're doing activities as opposed to kind of thoughtfully going about making those human connections. A mentor once told me that, you want to have software do what software does best, to let humans do what they do best. And again, whether it's Welcome Home that's built to enable that, or another system, make sure that you have those, and then bifurcate. Like, what am I going to allow technology to cover, whether it's lead nurturing or responders or reminders, and what do I do with all that free time, right? What do I do with that free time is think about how to have that great connection, how to have that great tour, how to have that great follow-up. Again, whether it's with the prospects, their family members, or the referrers. So
I always say it's simple, but not easy, right? So it is that face-to-face quality planning. What am I, like you said, how am we going to make impact here? And then as much as we can take out like what can't wait and what can wait, or what could a CRM do, or team as far as automation or response time, or I love reminders. As you probably know me well enough. Remind me. What would you say, any common challenges in maybe even using, maybe using the tools, sales, ops? What jumps to mind?
Turnover, right? I think that, right, turnover, I think, is first and foremost.
Yeah.
The press talks about it across the entire economy. I think that's especially challenging in senior living, where people really matter. And so it's not just I need to replace a barista, right? I need to replace someone that's going to be my CRD or my sales director. And so I think that's common across almost every single one of the operators that we serve or that we talk to. So I think that is universal across every operator, across every single function. And then for sales and marketing, I think the universal challenge is digital leads and aggregator leads are now the vast majority of first initial inquiries, right? And I think that and quite honestly, it's just following the way that a lot of commerce goes. I was speaking with a group during their offsite, and I asked them, throw out some major financial, emotional decisions that you made, and it was everything from returning to the dating scene to buying a house. And I said, all right, where did you start? And almost universally, everyone starts online, right? This is now how people start. But at the exact same time, that group earlier kind of talked about what they thought about digital leads, and their viewpoint is they're not very good. It's like, well, that's a mismatch. You as a human being view yourself as a very good lead for your next spouse, the car that you're going to buy, the house that you're going to buy, and you present yourself to them as a buyer digitally.
True.
You have to just start to adjust your mindset. And the way that I try to think about it is you have to be both the tortoise and the hare, right? You have to recognize in the new world that you have to quickly react, but then you need to engage in a very methodical way. And so, I think that those are the two, which is turnover and how to on the sales side, how to make the most of aggregator and digital leads.
I love that tortoise and the hare.
Thank
because
you.
it's in because we need to speed up in some areas,
Right.
and we're going at a whirlwind pace, right? And then, or at some areas or times, or like speed up, type faster, but it's slowing down when we need to slow down, and that's challenging.
Right. And for most communities, they have a single sales director, and that person needs to do both of those things.
Right.
Often in the same 5-minute period of time. I need to be quick twitch, and I need to be incredibly thoughtful.
Right. And we have to have a business mindset, as well as then that person to person, empathetic listener, intention. Yeah, it's a challenge. I love it. It's a challenging position. It's so gratifying. It's like you said, people in senior living they're good, nice people. It's just a tough job.
Yeah,
it's tough.
It is.
So speaking of difficulty, we know change is pain, right? And our customers go through a ton, are already going through pain, which is what this decision is so difficult to make this change. But and I've been a leader for providers that have had to or wanted to make a change to a new CRM.
Yeah.
Or I've been tasked as a consultant. Could you help us look? And I find, John, that in the last 10 years, how challenging this is, right? For companies, myself included, and I think a pretty quick decision maker. What do you think is the biggest reason for the pain? Meaning, changing into it from one maybe system, let's say CRM, one CRM to another? Like, what have you kind of encountered?
Yeah, I mean, change is hard. We have it emblazoned on our walls here because you always have to remember it. On a practical basis, it's getting your team excited and to do something a little different, or in some cases, a lot different. And so, do you have the energy that the journey is worth or the destination's worth the journey, right? And so, the whole training and adoption. I think that there is concern over data, again, whether it's on a CRM or an EHR or a property management system. Is all my data going to be there, right?
Sure.
And data is modern gold, right? And then finally, is everything that integrate and talk to one another? And so I have, a view that Unit 102C is going to be available in 3 days versus not. On an emotional basis, it's trusting that I can keep going during the transition, and that's hard, right? And I think that almost trumps everything else, which is it's a leap of faith that if I'm going to make this change, the world doesn't have to stop, because residents still need to be cared for. Caregivers still need to do their jobs. Sales directors still need to be reaching out there. Inquiries need to be responded to. And so that I think is what at the heart of a lot of these transitions, you have to hit head on. And quite honestly, we find it helpful when we have these discussions to acknowledge, yes, I'm not going to pretend that this is easy. But our job is to make it as easy as possible. We just want to make sure that recognize that we can't do it alone, right? And knock wood, 100 integrations and transitions or more already behind us. We figured out all the different potholes that we stepped in and recognize that, get through them all. So
What you're describing it mirrors so much a customer's, a prospect's decision or family decision to make a move, where there's a problem, there's a challenge, otherwise they wouldn't consider it. And there's probably, maybe 4 or 5 kind of common challenges, same with prospects, but each person's unique, each company is unique, just like prospects. Is the destination worth the journey? Right. You sitting in the destination, yes, it is, right? Just like us at the community, look at our residents and what people want to connect. And I think it's that recognizing, having your team recognize that emotional journey that your clients are going through is exactly the same, not the same journey, but emotionally. And, you say, well, we're a tech company, or, we're a CRM, and it's a thing, it's not your life's not at stake, so to speak. Well, it's yes and no. I mean, it's, like you said, does it logistically make sense? Same thing with like moving to a community, the amenities and the services. Right. Well, if a CRM sold just on amenities and services, aren't they all kind of the same? I mean, you're probably saying no way, because I don't understand the under the hood part. But I mean, from the face of it, yeah, it's it's a sales CRM, right? But there's much of, I mean, maybe I'm just speaking for myself, but huge for me is a relationship. Yeah. Yes. Right. It's relationship selling, and then that relationship that never goes away. That's selling through a great relationship. Right.
Yeah. And it's not dissimilar for when you go and look at reviews for communities. They don't talk about exactly what's the quality of the laminate, or how good the particular meal was. They talk about how happy their fellow residents are, what the caregivers are like. And the same thing with our reviews. They sadly don't talk about the visionary CEO that's coming up with the great products. And they will occasionally mention the features, but it is the customer success team the implementation team, the insights team that are there helping make sure that they keep getting better.
Yeah.
And the CRM is a tool, but it's just one part of who we are.
Well, one thing I know about you is that you are always looking to improve and to elevate your team, right? To elevate your team and just, hey, this is how to do this is how to work the product, but this is how to elevate just all of your skills, maybe your soft skills. People call them soft skills. I don't like that term, but the empathy and because customer relations is so critically important, and you can't relate to people unless and that, to me, that's a skill,
right?
In practicing empathy, understanding what someone's going to go through, and the same thing with a salesperson at a community that gets maybe frustrated. We all do. How come they're not moving? You can just see all in the same. I'm sure with you, I'm sure you've had times you're like, oh, why are they not moving forward?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I wanted to ask you one last question, and then
Sure.
I would like you to leave us with a piece of advice. But I was just curious, what if you could wave the magic wand, what do you wish we would do, providers would do? I mean, as far as using the CRM maybe in a better way, or what way do you feel like, I know this is global, but that they use it in maybe ways that we're not currently?
I mean, there's probably two different ways that I would use it. First, at least ours, right? I can only speak to ours. It was built recently, so it's mobile enabled. And the nice thing when you build something mobile, all the different features and functions that are just organic to your phone suddenly are able to be accessed. And so, if I'm going to visit the VA, you pull up the CRM and the address is there, and you click on the address and it's going to direct you right to the VA. So you have that mapping. Or you want to talk to text to record all your notes after that refer visit, you just talk to text. But it's use it mobily, right? Because you want to be out and about, right? To my earlier point about human connections, it's real hard to have human connections if you're chained to your laptop or your desktop. And so that's one thing I think you could do with the CRM, with a modern CRM like ours. The second is we encourage folks to have others in the CRM, and that's not always comfortable, right? The sales team wants to build up walls and don't go into the CRM, don't look when it's there. But we've seen operators have great success allowing everyone from not just who you normally would have encourage in, like an executive director or BOD or the like, but having the maintenance team or facilities team in there who's looking at the occupancy board and saying, oh, all right, what are the ones that are not rent ready? And I could put that on my schedule of to-dos to make sure that I have that carpet ripped out and replaced, or that part of that unit painted. And so it is a tool, right? It's a business tool, and it's a business tool that's mostly there to help the sales and marketing team, but it also can enable the rest of the team. And so that's probably the second thing I'd encourage.
Mobile and engage the team. I love it. Sort of kind of maybe a little plug, but I believe on your website, in your toolbar, in your webinar tools, your VP of sales and I did a webinar recently, I think, and really just talked about, and this is for everyone in using any CRM, is understand what people are looking at all different levels, right? Everything from your CEO to your COO should be looking at, and why. So the data that you're putting in there, that's being put in, it's being used to build strategy, not just as a storage for what you've done.
Right. Exactly.
Right? Yeah. Well, John, this is like part one, because I know I'm definitely going to have you back, if you will indulge me. So, okay, give me a piece of advice, or give us a no pressure words of wisdom or piece of advice for us to take with us today.
I have a lot of kids, and so I'm accustomed to giving advice that no one listens to. So I'm starting to stop even thinking about advice. I mean, here's a piece of advice: live life with passion. When I interview folks to join our team, what I'm looking for first and foremost is that they have a passion, and they don't have to have necessarily a passion for for a particular role that they're doing, right? They don't have to have a passion for data manipulation and insights. I just want to make sure that they have a passion for something, because you can't live your life just sleepwalking through it. And I can't create a fire, right? I could direct a fire. If I have a passionate individual who's passionate about street magic, right? I'm going to pick someone on the team, right? They're passionate about street magic, right? I'm quite certain that if that's burning bright enough, I can direct some of that energy to serving our clients. And so that's my piece of advice, right? Just live with
I
passion.
like that. You can't
All
create
right.
fire, but you can direct
I
it.
was on the hook and I came through.
Oh my gosh. See, your parenting, having all those kids is for it's there is use and there is benefit.
And there's gray hair.
And 2 dogs, I think, too, including
2
a
dogs.
puppy.
Exactly.
Ooh, John
hair.
Lariccia, thank you so much for joining me here on a Monday. And if you are interested in learning any more about sales, growyouroccupancy.com, and CRMs, WelcomeHome Software.com.
Software.com.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, Julie. It was a pleasure.